people associated with these two schemes. The Lobo Joy Street case fit within a brokerage firm in Queens, a borough of New York. He bribed brokers and hid the money in Switzerland. The perimeter of his crime had well-defined walls, and when the police entered, they closed right there. The Banco Master case, however, has no limits. Central bank directors were accused of bribery. Supreme Court justices appeared in the investigations. Parliamentarians used expensive planes, and former ministers had law firms contracted by the bank. Yes, Beaufort corrupted a brokerage firm, and, even in prison, never threatened to bring down half the government. Yet Vaccaro almost completely corrupted the Republic. That's the difference between a lone wolf and a rotten, completely corrupt ecosystem. Who was the biggest con artist? Daniel Vaccaro or the Wolf of Wall Street? For those who don't remember, the Wolf of Wall Street was a former New York stockbroker named Jordan Belfort who defrauded retirees, was arrested, and became so famous that Leonardo DiCaprio portrayed him in a movie. Want to know who wins this dispute? Then watch this video until the end and follow Aquera. Let's start with the size of the damage. Belfort's scheme was the classic pump and sell. Let me explain. You inflated the price of worthless stocks and sold them before anyone noticed. This scheme caused losses of around $200 million, more than our $1 billion, to 500 American investors. The whole in Banco Master, on the other hand, is in the order of our $52 billion and affected 1.6 million people. Belfort would need to repeat his fraud about 260 consecutive times to cause equivalent losses. But the most interesting difference isn't just in these numbers, it's in the engineering of the scam. Belf ran an unregistered brokerage firm called Stoughton Oakmont in New York and used false and positive statements to push Penn stocks, shares of virtually non-existent companies, onto retirees who answered the phone. His salespeople, practically kids without college degrees, earned a commission on each sale. Vaccaro, on the other hand, set up a business of another magnitude, a pyramid scheme within a regulated bank with a registered CNPJ, Brazilian tax ID. He acquired CDBs with returns of up to 140% of the CDI, Brazilian interbank deposit rate, in a market where banks generally pay 100%. The money that came in financed the interest of those who had invested earlier, a pyramid scheme. To carry out the scam, Belf had an office with these salespeople without college degrees. The federal police state that Vaccaro's organization had a structure composed of 4 key divisions: a finance department, an institutional corruption unit, a money laundering division, and a department dedicated to intimidation and obstructing justice. And their spending habits were also otherworldly. At the height of Stratton Oakman, Belfort spent $CE on parties, drugs, and all that luxury in New York. His bachelor party cost $11 million. Sounds like a lot, right? But that amount didn't even cover the bands for Vaccaro's parties. Between 2021 and 2024, Vaccaro burned through $802 million on luxury trips and events. His engagement party took place in a Roman palace and cost $14 million. His 40th birthday was in Sicily. He rented part of the island, which cost millions more. There were private shows by Coldplay, Andrea Bocelli, and Michael Bublé. Lobo Joy Street would certainly be envious.